Hello, everybody. Welcome back again to the Decode, a podcast series by ZOOP, where we talk about the building blocks of India's digital infrastructure. You're watching episode 3, and today we'll be uncovering a very interesting topic that has assisted the financial data of our country, the account aggregator ecosystem. Joining us, we have Vijay Chhuttani, the esteemed co-founder of ZOOP, who would be helping us in understanding the right answers. So let's get started. Hello, Vijay.
Hi, Geetika.
Welcome to our podcast.
Good to be here.
So let's begin from the top of the funnel. Can you help us understand what account aggregator actually does?
So, Account Aggregator is actually a secure data transfer mechanism. Like it's a framework, but you can say it's an infrastructure that is provided by government for secure transfer of data from data providers, financial data providers like banks, to data requesters like fintech apps, right? And it is consent driven. So majorly everything that is being shared is after the user's consent.
So Vijay, why now? Like, why has this infrastructure been developed at this given point of time?
So I think India is ready, right? So as we become more digital, right? India is becoming more digital country today, right? We have a lot of good digital systems like UPI, DigiLocker, right? That are helping with a lot of different applications out there. So one thing that was a missing piece was the transfer of financial data. And you can say secure access of financial data, right? So that's why I think this is the best time to kind of get it in. And as the penetration of mobile and penetration of internet is growing, right, it will become much more simpler for people to apply for these services using this data.
So as this is sort of an ecosystem, help us understand what all are the entities that are involved in this process.
Okay. So I would say we can look at it from 4 participants in this. So first one is your FIU. So these are financial information users, right? So these are companies who are looking for the financial data to help with applications like loan, insurance, medical use cases, right? And if you look at the second participant, which is financial information provider, FIPs. So these might be banks, broking agencies, or you can say the GST network, right? So which is able to provide the financial data. Then comes the account aggregator companies itself. So these are the broker in between, you can say, which take data from FIPs and give it to FIUs, right? And then there is another layer which is called as TSPs. So these are technology providers which help companies integrate faster and make sense of this data. So for example, if I'm getting raw data, I might not be able to use it, but these TSPs help them make it more consumable, get insights from it so that the decisions can be taken.
So as we know, data from the very beginning has been a major source of concern when we talk about the security of the same. So when data is flowing in this ecosystem, how secure is it?
So I would say to answer this, let us look how it was happening before, right? So earlier there were systems that were built where you provide your password to them, they'll scrape through the whole your bank website, then get this data to make it more digitally available, right?
True.
Where the surface area of attack was much more higher because the company who was processing in between had access to this data. But if you look at account aggregator ecosystem, right, here the data flow from FIPs, like the information providers, to FIUs is end-to-end encrypted. So the account aggregator in between does not have access to this data. They cannot see this data. They cannot store this data. So it's much more secure than what was before. And another thing is it's much more regulated now because the whole framework is being driven by RBI.
Well, that's very interesting to know. You being the founder of a company that is closely working with the RegTech and the FinTech ecosystem, what excites you the most about account aggregator?
So I think I'm a big believer of consent-driven sharing of information, right? Because I value my privacy a lot, right? So I think that excites me the most that the data is being now driven way more in a regulated form, right? So that's definitely exciting. Another thing is that like as a tech founder, right? Anything that gets more standard, right? Or it's more standardized, right? It becomes much more simpler to build things on top of it. Right. So if once we saw that DigiLocker came into picture, UPI came into picture, right? So all these kind of ecosystems made a lot of our life simpler, right? By integrating with so many use cases. Similarly, what excites me is that account aggregator is going to be such a wave where the data can be utilized to provide a lot of information, a lot of services to the users.
So, what are the global parallels that we can draw with the account aggregator being in the picture?
So I would say not 1:1, but there was a revolution for open banking in Europe, right, which was making the banking data available so that it's much more easier to consume. So yes, definitely that can be a parallel. There's a private company called as Played. They have done really good work in this area, right? And I would say, but in India, the beauty of this ecosystem is that it's not going to only allow you banking data, but other financial data like your stock data, your investment data, your GST data, or so that's kind of saying that it's more horizontal in nature, right? And it's more consent driven compared to when it comes to other systems, and it's more regulated.
So, Vijay, do you feel there are some misconceptions that still exist in the market in relevance with the account aggregator?
I think, yeah. First of all, people are learning about this, so definitely there are going to be misconceptions, right? So some people understand that account aggregator might be an app, right? It's not an app; it's a infrastructure, it's a framework, right? Some misconceptions are more like about the data security itself, that the player sitting in between, right, whose account aggregator will have access to this data. How can I allow a third party to kind of provide me data to some other company, right? So I think these are the major misconceptions that are there, but I think they can be solved via education.
Yes.
So, and maybe this might help them understand.
So, Vijay, I'm really curious to know how do you see this ecosystem impacting the underserved segments, be it MSMEs or gig workers or anybody who is new to their financial data?
So I think to understand this, let me kind of go back and tell you how this is being done right now also, and it was being done before. So let's say if you want to give me your bank statement, right, the way would be that either you download the statement or someone scrapes that information out of your banking ID password, right? And if you look at under served population or population in tier 2 gig workers, right, they usually don't use net banking that much, right?
Yes.
They don't remember passwords to their net banking. So it's very difficult for them to provide data digitally, and they don't know how to download their bank statement. So they have to go through that paper process, right?
It is very much time consuming.
Yes, exactly. So with account aggregator, the best part is that it changes the whole mode of sharing to a phone and OTP, right? Which is we all are used to, right? Even if it's a person from tier 2, tier 3, right? They know how to provide an OTP, right? How to kind of use the phone number, how to choose the bank, right? So the whole interface has become much more simpler, right? And that's where the penetration of sharing financial information can be much more deeper, right? There are a lot of people who don't have their active credit scores, right? But providing their financial behavior through this financial data, they can get access to new credit, right? For example, gig workers, right? They have cash flows. They don't have salaries, right? They can provide this data, which can be used to build models to provide, you can say, credit to them, right? And then there is GST information, which MSMEs can provide to kind of get access to credit. So I think overall, the whole sharing became easy, right, for them, and that itself solves the problem of getting access to credit and access to kind of financial services.
So, India being one of the biggest economies, with the help of account aggregator, financial inclusion is definitely to multiply, right?
Definitely.
This was a solid breakdown of why and what about account aggregator. But that's just the beginning. Do catch us in the next episode to understand how ZOOP is assisting the AA ecosystem. Stay tuned. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.